Hey, this is Nick from Nintendo Dads, and we are here with a review of Swords and Soldiers Shawarmageddon, put on by Renemo Games, both developed and published. We want to give them a big thanks for giving us a code so that we can get our fine Nintendo Dad folks a review. Alright, folks, so you might be wondering, didn't we just review a Swords and Soldiers game? Yes, we did. They put out a game. Renemo Games put out a game about a month or so ago, and that was the Wii U port of Swords and Soldiers. And then they came out and put out Swords and Soldiers 2, Shawarmageddon, about a month or so later. And here it is. Now we're reviewing the new one. There are lots of new features, being able to conscript your own army out of all the different units you've unlocked in all the nationalities. There's online. There's only one overworld now. Instead of playing 4 different maps, you only play one, which is great. I will start out here as you're just like, why are we looking at a blank screen, online screen? Why are we searching for what's going on? I hate to start out on the negative sometimes, guys, but it's probably the biggest issue with this game, so here we are. I have yet to play an online game. I don't know what's going on, but I've searched numerous days, numerous different times. I don't know if it's broken or what the deal is, but the online section, which is one of the biggest things that they have pushed as additions to this game, just doesn't work. And yes, before somebody says it, yes, I have Nintendo Switch Online, so that's not the problem. I know you needed to play it. I have it. So the next thing, you come to the overworld. You can see here there are 90 missions to do. Instead of, like I said, instead of there being 4 different overworld screens where you would play as like the Vikings and then you would move on to the next nationality and the next nationality, in this one they have weaved the story together in such a way where you play as one overworld, and you bop back and forth between playing as the Vikings, who came back from Swords and Soldiers. I mean, you gotta have the Vikings. The Persians, who I'm fairly certain are new, and the Demons, whom I know are new. And the Demons are a ton of fun to play as. And so sometimes you just play as one, sometimes you'll play as a combination. Here is one of the other new things in Shawarmageddon, where you get to conscript your own army out of all the units you have unlocked. So you get to choose 4 tier 1 players, 4 units, 4 tier 2 units, and 4 tier 3 units, and those are your 12 units that you can play as, or you can create, whatever you want to say, during the actual battle. And so you really got to think. The blue circles are units that use magic. The gold circles are units that use, wait for it, gold. I knew you were going to be shocked. And so you never really know. So you got to get a balance of both. You can see who your opponent has chosen as well to kind of help you balance, which is a nice feature. Again, I don't know if you can do that in multiplayer because I haven't been able to play online. But when you play the campaign, you certainly can. So here we are. We are in the actual battle. And I guess I should step back and say, for those of you who haven't played Swords and Soldiers, Swords and Soldiers is a 2D real-time strategy game. I never played a 2D real-time strategy game until I reviewed Swords and Soldiers. Absolutely loved it, and I find this one to be just as good, with just a crisper art style. And as you can see here, it still has the ability where you have to. So these are my 12 units, but I still have to pay to unlock them so that I can craft them. I don't know if craft's the right word, but that's what I'm using. So they haven't changed much about the map down below, which is probably good because it was really well put together in the first one, so there's no reason to change it. As you can see here, the white box is what I can view at the moment, and the rest of it is what I can't see, but it is the full entirety of the battle area, we'll call it. So the blue dots moving now are my crafted troops. The farther I go, the fog of war lifts, and sooner or later I'll probably run into an enemy, and then I'll get to see them as, I believe, red dots. So you can see on the hills up and down. So yeah, see, here it comes. Now you can see the red dot. So you can see in the hills up and down. I can press the A button to select which way my troops go. I do not have to be at my base to generate new troops. At any time I can generate troops. if you have played Swords and Soldiers and you're now watching this and you're saying, wait, there are parachute thingies coming down, what in the heck are those? This is also an addition to Shawarmageddon. So you craft your gold-getting troops. In this one, they're the little demons. So I have 5 of 6, you can see at the top there. I have 5 of 6 of those demons. Well, if I press the X button over those gold bricks, blocks, whatever you want to call them, that will send one of those demons on a mission to go get that block and give me an infusion of either cash, if it's a gold block, or magic, if it's a gold, if it's a blue block. So, and just to kind of step back and get the mechanics of how this works, it hasn't changed from Swords and Soldiers. You press ZL and the left stick to pick gold troops, and you press ZR and the left stick to pick magic stone. So as you can see here, I'm targeting the sheep magic trick. See, I turned him into a sheep, so he couldn't blow up my guy. So good news for us. You can still, there's still a touch screen just like there was in Swords and Soldiers for Switch. That hasn't changed. It works really well. You can swap back and forth between whether you want to use the joysticks or whether you want to use the touchscreen. You do not have to have the joysticks on. You do not have to have the Joy-Cons on. If you don't want to, you can play with them off. There is still the really cool feature, and if you want to see this, I didn't copy it again, but if you want to see this, you can go back to my Swords and Soldiers review on the Nintendo Dad site. There's this really, when you're playing multiplayer undocked, you flip the screen vertically, so that if you're sitting across from a person at the table, it splits the screen down the middle, so you can both play touchscreen and view your troops, so you'll see them in the right way. And that it's a really cool feature and a ton of fun. It's a great way to play this game. You can play dock too, and they'll just split the screen horizontally, so that's also a thing. So what are some other things they have added? They have added some new units. They've added new factions. So of course some of them, the demons are all new units. But not only that, they've added these tiers of units now. So that, I don't think in this one you'll see me get down to it, but there is, for the Vikings, there is a new unit called Helga. And she is a champion. She's a champion unit. And each of the factions have, I think it's 3 or 4 champion units, which are just these gigantic beast units that can do a ton of damage, but they cost a ton of money to actually create them, and to research them to be able to create them. So it's not very often actually in the campaign that I have used them so far. I am a little over halfway through the campaign. There's a lot. These 90 missions take a long time to go through, so there's a lot of play to be had here. I mean, some of them may last for just 5-10 minutes. You might have a mission, and some of them will go for 30-40 minutes. So there's a lot of playtime in this $15 game on the eShop right now. So guys, my final thoughts on Shawarmageddon. If you like the first Swords and Soldiers, you'll definitely like the second. It's just more of the same great gameplay with additional features and new ways to play. New units, new factions, the whole deal. Totally worth it. If you have never played, you're unsure of it, my tip to you would be go out and get Swords and Soldiers on the Switch. It's $7.50 right now, so it's half the price of what you'll pay for Swords and Soldiers 2. And if you love it, then get Shawarmageddon, because you'll love that too. The only real issue I had with this game is the online feature. Hopefully they'll figure that out, because that would just make this game a steal, quite frankly. But I'm gonna admit it, even with the online issue, I still say, guys, that this game is worth the pickup if you like real-time strategy and this 2D aspect of it. It's just a lot of fun to play. They've thought out the units and how they work together. the strategy behind it. The dialogue's quirky and fun. The art style's great. The story is nonsensical in a comedic kind of you love it way. So I hope this has helped you make your decision on the Swords and Soldiers Shawarmageddon. Signing out. See you later. Game over, folks.